Right after COVID, it was rough,
Oh,
right? It was rough with sponsors. It was rough for getting attendees.
Yeah.
And 2 years ago, I think,
Yep.
Julie and I were like, we didn't make enough money from sponsors. And Julie and I were like, we're never doing this again.
Yeah,
Like,
it was so
It was
stressful.
so stressful.
Julie Turner, Derek Cash-Peterson, thank you for joining me at the Chairs by the Escalators.
Are we starting like between two ferns? We're
This is-
doing chairs
yeah.
by the
Chairs
escalator?
by the
Chairs by the
Escalators.
Escalators.
Thank you for joining me. We're here to talk about CollabDays New England.
Yeah.
I guess I want to start out with, how did you get started at CollabDays New England, or just at CollabDays in general?
Yeah, well, CollabDays New England was a little bit of a new name. We did a name switch right around COVID, right? It
Right
was
before COVID,
Right before COVID. Yeah, right before COVID. We started out as a SharePoint Saturday event. So we were 2017, I believe, was our first year. I was working with some praxis. We had a Boston area users group, New Hampshire users group, a Rhode Island users group. And so we had all these users group, but we didn't have a SharePoint Saturday in New England anymore. And we knew we needed that because, having the 1 hour, one session once, a month is fine, but to have like a bunch of people be able to come together, spend the whole day networking, learning from each other, all of those things just wasn't existing in New England. And it's a big enough area of the United States that it needed that coverage. So a bunch of the user group leads got together, talked about doing it. We have an MTC, Microsoft Technology Center, right in Burlington, just outside Boston. And we had a sponsor there of Chris Bortlick, awesome guy, works for Microsoft for a lot of years now. And we all got together on the call and just said, hey, we really should do a SharePoint Saturday again. And so it sort of was born from there. And as the natural alpha lead I am, when nobody did anything, I just sort of took over, and then everybody went, she's got it, and we're out. So that's how it started.
I actually got started with my first ever speaking engagement was at the previous incarnation of SharePoint Saturday Boston at the Microsoft Technology Center in Cambridge.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was, so it was there.
Yep.
Somebody else ran it. Then there was nothing. And then we pick it back
Yeah,
up.
then we picked it back up. So it was sort of like full circle. So I came in, that was my very first speaking thing. And then now I'm helping to run it.
I want to get to kind of, not necessarily sponsorships, but almost like the struggles and the issues. Is it sponsorship? Is that the most difficult part of getting, is that the hard part?
For us, I think the hardest part is the sponsorship part because we're putting this event on in an area that's expensive, right? It's Boston, it's New York. Those cities are expensive to do anything in. And so we are lucky enough that we do get a fair amount of sponsorship, but it's like pulling teeth every year. And the economy with what it is, we rely on the sponsors to keep the event free. And it is in our ethos to make sure that this event stays free as long as we can possibly keep it that way.
Yeah, free if we can keep it that way, but even if we had to add cost, I can't see us, we would want to keep it as absolutely small, like token amount, because there's really that idea that it should be education free for all. These bigger conferences that we go to, we get that that's more of a premier event. People have to pay to attend it, but that then leaves out a whole swath of the community who don't have the resources to attend something like that, but really need the education and learning and networking. Period.
Huge.
And being in Boston, there's so many educational institutions. So making sure that there are spaces for folks that either are underrepresented in tech or they don't have the financial means to even a $5 or a $10 cost could be something that they can't afford. So making sure that it stays real and available for folks is important to us.
Absolutely.
So that's why we rely on the sponsorship.
Great. No, it's you're right. I think one of our favorite things about these collab days and these community events is that they are available to everyone. These are, and one of my next questions is going into people who are brand new to the industry. What do you hope that someone gets out of, if they're going to your event, what do you hope they get out of it?
Right after COVID, it was rough, right? It was rough with sponsors. It was rough for getting attendees. Yeah. And 2 years ago, I think, Julie and I were like, we didn't make enough money from sponsors, and Julie and I were like, we're never doing this again.
Yeah,
it
was
so stressful. Yeah. We're like, no. During the middle of the event, a woman comes up to me at the registration table, and she goes, I just want to say thank you. My company doesn't give me any opportunity or any money to get training. Yeah. And this is the one day a year that I get to come and get better at my job.
Yeah, I'm like tearing.
And I'm like,
Goosebumps.
I'm like,
and I'm like, And he tells me, and I'm like, yeah, and we're in, and we're done because, oh my God.
Yeah. And then we started planning the next year.
Yeah, and everybody made fun of me because
Yeah.
the whole leading up to the event,
You're done.
we
Yeah.
were so
We were done. This is the last
stressed.
year.
We were like, how are we?
Yeah.
We were trying to figure out I have a budget spreadsheet that's down to
That's-
what every cup of coffee is gonna cost.
Yeah.
Right.
Literally, how can we make this work? And
That's
we were like,
Yeah.
what can we cut out that doesn't feel like we're cutting too much out? What can we do? So we were cutting every corner, and the both of us were for 3 months, we're just I hope
Never
we can
doing
do
this
this.
again.
I hope we can do this. This is horrible. I don't know. This feels awful. We're gonna not have any money, and you don't actually some of the expenses you don't actually know the number until after the event is over. So you're just hoping you didn't blow the budget that you set. So it's just really stressful, and we were we're never doing this again. I was telling everybody, we're not doing this again. This is the last one. We're not doing it. And then after that comment, I'm like, so we're doing it again.
We're doing it again. We booked the room. We're
we booked the venue already. I've already started next year's.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, it's those things. It's the community that keeps driving
It
Yeah.
is the community
Yeah.
that's driving it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have speakers who say to me that they, whatever, they love this event, and they love the event because there's a set of people that come to it, and it's that networking and seeing those people every year too. And I think Sue Hanley and I were talking about this recently, where there's this weird blurring of the lines that the Microsoft 365 community is, where you have the people that you are acquainted with. But then over time, because the platform has been around for 25 years, right? So over time, as SharePoint has evolved into Microsoft 365, the people that we do these community events with, and the people who attend, and the people who speak, and the people who sponsor, become these people that you spend so much time with. You're blurring the lines between who are your work friends and who are your friends, your
Right.
life friends, to the point that Sue and I go on vacation together now.
That's great.
And I met her through the community. So it's not we're oh, ski vacation? Let's do that, So
I mean, you and I have known each other for what, 15 years?
yeah. And now we're we're besties. So,
Yeah.
in and
So-
out of work, work would be, not the thing that kept us together.
And all of that leads to job opportunities, to networking, to
Yeah.
to all of those things. And
Yeah.
it's this community that really helped me in my career.
And I think it's inclusive, and I think we're all,
Yeah.
as we're aging, we're all recognizing that we need to bring in make sure we've always been open, but I think we're even more aware of how important it is to bring up new people into the environment. So we're definitely, one of the things we definitely do with CollabDays New England, we've done it from the start, but we're more emphasizing it, is to make sure we're getting new faces in the Microsoft 365 community coming in. Mark Anderson, who is my partner at Sypraxis, loves to mentor people through speaking things. We have the PMP crew that loves to, co-present with people. So it's that, if you'd like to do it the first time, these community events that are around the world are the ones to do it at.
We'll support you.
Yeah.
We'll get you. We'll team you up with somebody. We'll give you feedback.
Yeah,
You
help you
will
get
do this in
started.
a supported and scaffolded manner, so
Yeah.
that it's not scary to talk in front of a room.
Yeah,
of-
it's not as intimidating.
Yeah.
I think that's a really important thing. Something we talk about a lot. We look at, well, hey, have years of experience here. I'm okay. But the next generations are going to struggle finding those junior positions, those places that they can get that
Yeah.
education and that knowledge and the networking
Yeah.
to get their foot in the door. So
100%.
these community events are the best place for them to go to. So
Yeah.
I want to go into, that was almost a question I was going to ask was, with your event, AI is a big topic every day, every year. It's been a bigger and bigger topic. How much is CollabDays New England about AI? How much is about M365? Do you kind of try to do that nice split?
We work hard at it. It's a tricky thing. So the way we pick speakers, we have the people we know, but that's not actually how we pick speakers. I'm very particular about this. I'm sort of the lead of this. I essentially take all the sessions that are submitted, I make a huge spreadsheet out of it, and then I take the title and the description only, and I put it in another spreadsheet. And then I have a group of 8 people who I send the spreadsheet to, and they have a little 1 through 5 ranking pull down in the Excel spreadsheet. And I'm rank them 1 through 5. And so they rank the whole spreadsheet, and then I bring all 8 back together. Now the names are back in, and then I average the scores from all 8 people, sort it by that ranking, and then I pick the top sessions until I've filled my 40 speaking slots. And so if you're somebody known and you got picked, you got picked. If you're not, you didn't get picked, you didn't get picked.
Right.
And I mean, the speakers who've been doing it for a while are obviously going to make a title of an abstract that's going to be really well written, and they're going to end up getting picked most of the time, but it leaves the door wide open. If you are somebody new and you write a really good title and abstract, we'll pick you. That said, we pick the top rated one unless we're starting to get overlap. So
too much of the same
thing. Like if the number 1 session and the number 2 session are basically the same session, we're gonna go, oh, well, let's pick this other session by that person. We'll pick that person, but maybe not that top rated session.
Oh, right, because they could always submit different abstracts.
Yeah, and you should.
You definitely
if you're
should.
new to this, do not ever submit less than for
3
one.
to 5.
If you think 3 to 5. Yeah.
It gives the selection committee an opportunity to pick and choose.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just submit one and somebody else submits a session with a better abstract and description on the same topic, you don't want to instantly get thrown out. So you have to give options based on your expertise and what you want to talk about.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that you're not left open. If the title and abstract is sort of good, and you're like, okay, I see the vision of that, and it's niche enough where you don't have coverage somewhere else, you might say to that speaker after you pick them, hey, this is great, but could you tweak this a little bit?
Yeah.
That can happen. I've never done it, but it could happen.
Okay.
But I think it's more important to give options, like show what your range is. Like, don't give 3 abstracts on essentially
The same
thing written a different way. That's not what we want to see.
Right.
I will say one of the things, especially in the last couple of years, the tip of the content tends to be a lot more Copilot or AI heavy.
It's ridiculous.
And that is one of the things that as a reviewer, you look at it and you go, how many Copilot sessions do we have room for?
Yeah.
And we have tracks. We have a development track or an extensibility track. We have a Copilot track. And so we try to fill those. It's not narrow, right? Like you can sort of decide what goes in there, but we want to make sure the other tracks are full too.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
Let's say someone has been around, they've been in the community for a bit, but they're thinking about, they're traveling to it. There's none near them in a city. They want to start their own. What advice would you give them?
Line up your sponsors early.
Yeah.
I think we're lucky enough to have partnered with Chris Bortlick at the MTC, and that's really a good, solid space for us. I think figuring out your location and your sponsorship, figure out how much it's going to cost, because these events aren't free.
Yeah.
And they take a lot of organizational time, and they take a lot of financial effort to put on.
Yeah.
I think those would be my 2 things to
Yeah,
really focus on.
I agree with you. I think until you have the foundation set, you can't build your house, right?
Yeah.
All the bells and whistles, like do you serve lunch? Do you have coffee? All of picking sessions, all of that stuff is quite frankly way after. You need to find out if you can have a venue. That might be a local community college. That might be a Microsoft Technology Center, depending on where you are. That might be some business that has a bigger venue that maybe has some conference rooms or some offices that they could loan you. You know what I mean? So there's those ideas. You have to figure out where your location is first. Then you have to figure out, okay, what do you want your event to be? So how much money do you need?
Right.
And then once you figure that out, you've got to partner with some businesses and find some people who are willing to contribute. I know Emily Mancini runs Miami. She was partnering with local vendors who provided regional ethnic foods for lunch and stuff like that. She was doing Cuban style empanada or something like that. They're not called empanadas. I don't know what they're called, but for lunch, you know what I mean?
That's
That.
good.
So you can find ways to make the event your own and by that trim costs. So
A little bit sometimes have to be creative with where you're sourcing.
that's exactly what I mean.
Yeah,
And
100%.
partnering with those businesses to hand out flyers for your food truck or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I don't want to take up more of your time. The escalators are ready for a ride. Thank you both for joining me. Collab Days New England. It is
October 16th,
Oc-
2026.
October 16th, 2026. Looking
Burlington,
forward to it.
Massachusetts.
Yes, Burlington, Massachusetts. Looking forward to it.
Awesome.
All
Thanks,
right.
Shane.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.